Here we go. The NLL Buckeye on the line. Seeding on the line. These two teams, the 4 and 5 seed in Division 1, Region 1. And Perrysburg has straight up said, we do not want to share the title. We want Perrysburg to be alone when this is listed. And the Panthers coming off, Mason talked about it earlier, a tough loss to Clay last week, righting the ship and maybe the spark extra that you needed. If you didn't already want to win this game, coming back after a collapse late against Clay, a little extra fire into the Panthers.
Yeah, and, you know, we talked about what Chad Long said after the Fremont Ross loss to Napoleon. The amount of penalties and self-inflicted wounds is unacceptable. Whitmer was that to the nth degree on Friday. 22 penalties called. I saw a lot of griping about that on social media. I can't speak to it at all. But that's – we had talked about how much more disciplined Whitmer had been this year, and it felt like that all just kind of crumbled last week. And if you're Justin Keller, that coaching staff, you're maybe a little bit alarmed by the last 6 quarters of football. They led Findlay 28-0 and almost lost. Led Clay 28-14 in the second half and lost, and committed so many penalties. And they had so many chances to win that game, and they couldn't do it. So you're maybe a little spooked if you're – there's your Halloween reference, kind of. They've got to get back to basics this week. And one thing that will really help them is the fact that Joey Morales and Jamon Holmes should be back.
Yeah.
Neither of them played – last week. Jaden Jones got close to 30 carries, I think, and was really good. Yes, he averaged almost 9 yards a carry, which, you know, very impressive against that Clay defense. They've got to find their discipline again, because Perrysburg is a very disciplined football team. That defense is one of the few around that can probably keep up athletically with Whitmer's backs. Sure. They can, and they're good tacklers. And Joey Morales and Jamon Holmes and Jaden Jones are bigger, beefier guys that are hard to bring down. If anybody can, it's probably Perrysburg, I would think.
Yeah, a lot to unpack with this one. So in some of these other playoff matchups or Week 10 matchups that impact the playoff pairings, bracket, etc., this one's pretty clear-cut. Winner gets the NLL Buckeye and a first-round home game. Or first-round bye, and then a successive home game in the second round. So that's it. The winner of it gets it. And then the loser, no first-round bye, and you're going to play a home game in the first round. So plenty to play for. And I was asking some of the coaches, okay, would you rather have a bye or would you rather play to keep any momentum that you have? And apparently so far, in a handful of coaches that I've talked to, they want the bye because of the injuries.
Yeah, it's Week 10, right?
You can get through. Everybody's banged up at this point. No one's 100%. Even the healthy guys are still a little banged and bruised. So everybody wants that first-round bye, and it is on the line at Memorial Stadium at Whitmer on Friday night. Tailgate will be there. You mentioned Jamon Holmes and Joey Morales. Kevion Lee, the receiver for Whitmer, also did not play against Clay, so he is expected to be back as well. I spoke to an unbiased person, so not Whitmer's coach and not Clay's coach in regards to the film and what penalties were called or justifiably called and, what? Huh? What did you call? Type of deal. So there were some questionable calls. That's not the sole reason why Whitmer lost that game. Credit to the team who won in Clay. 100%. But it was a factor, and then to what degree, that is open to interpretation. But it played a factor. But if I'm Perrysburg, and Coach Dirk Connor told me, it lost a little luster in the sense that it's not for the straight-up outright winner-take-all, because if Whitmer wins, they lost to Clay, so they would share it with Perrysburg. So I said,
Sherrysburg.
But
sorry.
He said, and I said, I don't know if I need to remind you. He said, you don't need to remind me. Whitmer last year lost to Anthony Wayne the week before they played Perrysburg, and then Whitmer beat Perrysburg. So a mad Whitmer team lost the week before, then took down the Jackets. Same scenario is presenting itself here. Not Anthony Wayne, but a loss to Clay. So that is a storyline. You mentioned the defense for Perrysburg. How about allowing 8 points per game? Single digits. When you're allowing single digits defensively, that is key. But they got to clean up the turnovers. Maxwell threw some picks last week against Anthony Wayne. Special teams will be a factor in this one. So this one is a juicy matchup on BCSN.
Perrysburg has the best kicker in the area in Braden Heitmeyer.
Yes.
Whitmer tends to be very good on special teams. Heitmeyer, at least going into last week, he had attempted 45 kickoffs, 35 were touchbacks, which is insane. When you're always starting at the 20-yard line, that certainly gives the defense a lot to work with. And what the defense for Perrysburg has done this year is so impressive because they lost 15 of the top 18 guys on the depth chart from last year. Of course, one of them is playing quarterback now, but you lose Josini, you lose literally everyone. And the fact that they've somehow been better this year is wild. So hats off to that whole group. They were really, really good last Friday.